Biasucci gets the game underway. Terrence Mathis returning for the Jets, and across the 20 to the 24-yard line. Here are the starting lineups now. Well, there's a flag down, so we'll wait a moment. Tom Dooley heads the officiating crew here today and indicates an infraction against the New York Jets. Well, the Jets offense is ranked 7th in the NFL. That offensive line has been steadily improving, led by center Jim Sweeney. Ken O'Brien, the 5th-rated passer in the AFC. He's tossed 5 TD passes, been intercepted 5 times. Toon, the leading receiver, had a big game last week. Blair Thomas, the top rusher, but has been in a bit of a slump. And on passing downs, the Jets go to their hawk formation. Mathis and Burkett give them 4 wide receivers.
You know, a major key for this Jet offense today is that offensive line sustaining their blocks. Larry Bechtel, offensive line coach, says that's the most important factor for this running game to go.
O'Brien with a play-action pass on first down and has the man wide open. Chris Dressel is tight end, and Dressel close to a 10-yard gain before he's tackled by Dwayne Bickett. Here's the Colts starting defense, ranked 2nd in the NFL in pass defense, but last against the run. 2 veteran first-round choices, Thompson and Hand, anchor the defensive line, and the linebackers are good. Radisic, Harrod, and Bickett 1, 2, 3 in tackles. In the secondary, the veteran Daniel has 3 interceptions, and if the Colts do a good job on first down, they'll bring in their loaded nickel. 4 rushers, 2 backers, and 5 defensive backs. Well, the pass to Chris Dressel was just enough for a first down, so the Jets have a first down on their initial play of the game. Baxter stopped for a loss. John Hand got penetration into the Jet backfield and stopped Brad Baxter for a loss on the play.
Big John Hand. I mean, this man's about 6'8", coming strong to the inside that time. Just runs by the Jet blockers to get penetration. It's amazing that a man that size at 6'7", 301 pounds has that kind of quickness.
And from your alma mater, Alabama, first-round choice out of Bama back in '86. Led all defensive linemen in tackles for the Colts a year ago. 2nd and 12 for the Jets. O'Brien with time, threw it short. Dressel again across the middle was the intended receiver, and O'Brien's pass hit the turf. Harrod and Radisic defending for Indianapolis.
Well, O'Brien just missed this time. I mean, his protection was good. There were open receivers downfield, 2 of them, in fact, and O'Brien just misfired. The coach dropped off into a zone defense, and, well, let's take a look at what we have here.
That was the earlier meeting at the Hoosier Dome, and Bruce Coslett was talking about this game where his defense pretty well controlled things. 4 wide receivers in. This is the hawk formation now for the Jets. Mathis in motion. O'Brien goes long down the sideline for Rob Moore, and Moore has it inside the Colt 30. Rob Moore beating Alan Grant down the right sideline for 39 yards.
But Moore on the top of the screen just outruns Grant to the outside, and look where Ken O'Brien puts this football. I mean, it's a perfect pass. There's nothing Grant could do about it. Moore had beaten Grant with his deceptive speed. Once again, a 6'4" wide receiver, Rob Moore, has the kind of speed that can get him deep.
Beautiful connection, O'Brien to Moore. And Bruce Coslett saying to us yesterday that he thought it was important to get an early lead on these Colts. Don't give them any encouragement. Indianapolis 0-9. Blair Thomas with his first carry of the afternoon gets 2 or 3 yards.
Well, you see, that's what the Colts defense has to do. Shut Blair Thomas down and this Jet offense on first down. Put them in a long second down situation. Force them to pass. Then they can play a little more recklessly. This Colts defense has been playing fairly well considering the fact that they're on the field so much, Tom. The offense hasn't helped this Colts defense a little bit.
Right now, the Jets have put the Roger Duffy in at a tight end spot. He is normally an interior lineman. Power formation for the Jets on 2nd and 8. Thomas. Blair Thomas slips down down at the 15-yard line, covered there by Michael Ball.
Beautiful running by Thomas through a huge hole. I'll tell you, Mike Haight, number 79 for the Jets, gets on Jeff Herrard and blocks him out of the play on the left side of the screen, and there he is right there in front of you. Hey.
Well, Kozlitz said he wanted to get an early lead. Playing a winless team like Indianapolis, whom he termed a dangerous team, he thought it was important to get out in front. And you see, when they're ahead at halftime, they usually win.
Well, you know, when a team's down like the Colts, you'd like to give them a chance to quit. I don't think these Colts will quit.
Baxter had a lot of people in front of him, but he kept the legs turning and managed to get to the 10-yard line. Finally, Dwayne Bickett was able to cut him to the turf.
Brad Baxter, hard runner. He's got his father in town, Tom. We had a good time with him yesterday.
Had his dad and his younger brother give him a tour of the Jets facilities. They're from Alabama, and he went to Alabama State, Brad Baxter, in his second year. The New York Jets, surprisingly, have been in the red zone more than any other team in the NFL. 38 times, 13 touchdowns, 19 field goals. 2nd and 5. Thomas finally ridden down close to the 5-yard line. Chip Banks put a saddle on his back and finally rode him down.
Let's check out the blocking of Brad Baxter, number 30, trying to open the hole for Thomas. He gets out in front and kicks out Taylor a bit. He takes him out enough. That doesn't look like a terrific block, folks, but I tell you what he did do. He took his man out of the play, even though he didn't bull him over. Keith Taylor, the corner or safety that time for the Colts, couldn't make the tackle.
It's 3rd and 1. Thomas inside the 5. He's got a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for the Jets. Banks and Taylor kept Thomas out of the end zone, and once again, Brad Baxter blocking for Thomas.
Yes, number 30 right here in front of you. You see him turning out Taylor, but Taylor falls back in to help out with Chip Banks. It's the blocking of Baxter that is so good, along with the power running. This guy is one of the fine all-around fullbacks we're going to find, and he was a good find for the Jets.
He had been lined up on a wing. They're split backs now, Thomas and Baxter, on 1st and goal. O'Brien will pass for it, plenty of time, and dumps it off short, intended for Thomas. It's incomplete.
Bit of a surprise, you know, when your running game's getting some yards for you, to run a regular drop-back pass there without even faking a run. The Jets surely had the Colts thinking run on this down, and that's why they chose to pass, but I would have figured a play-action pass, Tom. Maybe make those guys bite for the run first and get a step for a receiver.
Good point. And the Jets have been running mostly to the right behind the big road grader, Dwayne White, whom you mentioned earlier, and Herb Eatman. See which way they go here. 2nd and goal. They try the left side with Baxter. Cuts it back. Touchdown.
Brad Baxter behind the offensive front of Sweeney, and Haight doing a fine job up there. Dwayne White blocking people. The Jets are sustaining their blocks, and even Dressel's blocking the right side of the screen with his back shielded off Chip Banks. A fine offensive drive for the Jets.
And now Pat Leahy will try to tackle on the extra point. And it's good. So the Jets get a touchdown, an extra point on their first possession. Kozlitz has the early lead that he wanted as the Jets soar in front of Indianapolis 7-0.
Power.
Mr. lugged it over for the Jets, who consume over 6 minutes with a 76-yard drive on their first possession. 7th score of the year for Baxter, and the Jets lead it 7-0. Aguiar will kick off for New York. And deep for the Colts, Verdun and Martin. That's Martin to the right, Verdun to the left. And Verdun from the 5. Ducks his way to the 25-yard line, where the Colts will have their first possession of the game.
let's take a look at the last touchdown run. You see the Colts have more guys right here than they do here, and these offensive linemen are just going to wash these people down, and then Chris Dressel will screen this man off. And what a huge hole this all opens up for Brad Baxter to get through. Watch the cutback now behind that flow, and there's Baxter with the hole to get in the end zone. Nice sustained blocking by the Jets.
Impressive drive by New York to take the lead, and now it's the Colts' turn to try to answer. Remember, they have gone 5 games, 20 quarters without a touchdown. Jeff George hands to Ken Clark, and Clark, in his second year out of Nebraska, lugs it to about the 30-yard line, make it the 29. Here's the Colts' offensive lineup, and this is the first time this season that there have been no changes in the offensive line from a week ago. Despite 28 sacks and 7 interceptions, Jeff George is completing 64% of his passes. And in the absence of Eric Dickerson and the injured Anthony Johnson, Ken Clark becomes the featured back. Colts Rocket features 4 wide receivers for Dan and Martin come in. 2nd and 6 for Indianapolis. Clark is the only setback, and he gets the handoff. Give him 2 yards to the 31, where he's tackled by Kyle Clifton and Joe Kelly. Here is the Jets defense, ranked 11th in the NFL and 2nd against the run. Top sack man Marvin Washington is injured, replaced by the rookie Mark Gunn. Clifton is leading tackler as usual, and the rookie Lewis has been a great addition. In the secondary, Eric McMillan regains the starting spot he lost to the now injured Lonnie Young. And in the Jets dime, they'll employ a total of 7 defensive backs. 4 wides, the rocket formation here for Indianapolis on 3rd and 3. George in the shotgun, sends Brooks in motion. Plenty of time, wings it complete to Brooks for a first down. Mike Brim makes sure that Bill Brooks goes out of bounds. Brooks, who is the perennial leading receiver for the Colts, is only 4th on the list this year. That was his 29th catch. It went for 8 yards. Now let's check the Miller Genuine Draft 10-minute ticker with Atlanta breaking on top of the Redskins.
That is a surprise.
Atlanta banged up, but Washington coming off an emotional, tough win against Houston. San Francisco leads New Orleans. And Cincinnati with a field goal. Tampa Bay up on Detroit. Some surprises early, but not here, where the Jets lead the Colts 7-0 in the early going. Just under 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Colts with their initial first down on that toss to Brooks. First down pass from Jeff George sails over the head of Jesse Hester and incomplete.
Well, you know, this play was as bad as the last play was good for Jeff George. Jeff George stood in the pocket, delivered the ball nicely to Brooks the play before. On this play, he backed out looking to his receiver all the way, and had the ball been on target, I'll tell you, the Jets cornerback was in excellent position that time. George has struggled along with the rest of this offense, basically because the offensive line really hasn't had a chance to play together. That's important.
And a close-up of that beard, he says he won't shave until they win.
That may be a long time.
Ken Clark stacked up, maybe gained a yard across the 40. And they asked Jeff George yesterday if all the adversity the Colts have suffered through this so far winless season had hindered his development as a quarterback, only in his second year, as you know. And he said he actually thought it had helped him a lot, that he had to study more. He didn't have a quarterback coach now, so he relied on his own preparation much more, and said he was even calling some of his own plays, and he didn't think many other second-year quarterbacks were doing that. And we asked Rick Venturi what he thought about it, and he said he agreed. He thought the bad season so far had actually helped George's development. 3rd and 9.
You can look at it, Tom.
It hadn't been much fun, however. Brooks, incomplete. He looked to the inside. The pass came outside, and Brooks couldn't quite catch up as Mike Brim, covering, fell down.
Well, Mike Brim was in nice position that time. The ball was thrown to the outside. As you see, Brim fall to the ground, and Brooks just not able to get it. But I'll tell you something. As a quarterback, you expect your receiver to stay on that outside and use the sideline. So I'm not so sure that George didn't put that ball where he normally should put it.
Here's Ron Stark to punt, averaging, as you see, 43.5 yards a kick. The 4th leading career punter all time in the NFL. A career average of 44. Low line drive kick. Terrence Mathis sees it bounce and picks it up at the 10. Mathis to the outside. Breaks tackle. tackles all the way to the 35-yard line. Finally stopped by Tim Manoa and by Ron Stark. Great return by Mathis, and the Jets will have it and a 7-0 lead. Tom Hammond, Joe Namath, and quite a few other hearty souls at Giant Stadium today, where the hometown Jets lead the Indianapolis Colts 7-0. The rain continues to fall down. It's a misty rain, and the wind swirls around. I'm not sure who it favors at the moment. Seems to swirl on the stadium floor. Ken O'Brien with a play-action pass. Wide open, complete to Toon. Al Toon to the 40-yard line, and that is a catch in the 86th straight game for Al Toon. That ties him with Mickey Schuler for the club record, 86 in a row, the fourth longest streak of all time.
And you saw Al Toon throw that ball off to be saved. He's right in front of you, crossing in the middle as Rob Moore drives the safeties deep. The Jets cross up the Colt defense on first down once again with the long pass play down the middle. This is not what the Colts defense is expecting of the Jets.
It covered 25 yards, 86 games in a row with a reception now for Al Toon. Brad Baxter wrestled down by Donnell Thompson and Michael Ball. Give him about 4 yards on the play. Maybe 3, make it 2nd and 7 for Kozlitz's Jets.
Kozlitz says that the nose tackle, Tony Saragusa, for the Colts kind of messes up his offensive blocking scheme a bit, so they have what they call a check with me system for Kenny O'Brien. When he gets up to the line, he'll see which side of the center that the nose tackle is cocked, and then he'll call the play accordingly to try and take advantage of the situation.
And right now it's Travis Davis that has replaced Saragusa at the nose tackle. Delayed handoff to Blair Thomas, sort of waited for things to clear and made a good run out of it. About a yard short of the first down at the 31, tackled by Eugene Daniel.
Well, that's the something special that Blair Thomas has. Most running backs are not going to find any opening here and not be able to break through. Watch how low Thomas is to the ground, how he'll dart through the holes. Now, that's a God-given gift right there of balance and strength. And once again, there aren't many running backs in the NFL that has Thomas's ability.
In his second year out of Penn State, a first-round draft choice, and Thomas had been in a bit of a slump. His average per carry fallen below 4 yards. But he looked good on the first drive of the Jets, and he's the lone setback here on 3rd and 1. O'Brien passes and completes it to Thomas. Thomas across the 30 to the 25-yard line, and a Jet first down. Keith Taylor on the tackle for the Colts as we approach the 3-minute mark in the first quarter, and the Jets leading 7-0.
Very interesting drop back pass on 3rd and 1. Thomas on the left side of the screen just beats Keith Taylor with the angle to get open out there. Once again, that's Thomas's versatility. The guy can run that rock, and he has good hands too as a pass receiver.
Yeah, they actually had Baxter as the only setback, and Thomas lined up as a pass receiver. Safety valve to Baxter, who falls down, gets back up, and gains another 7 yards. He's to the 17 of the Colts. Travis Davis finally drags him down.
You know, that's what your teammates love. That's what these fans love. Brad Baxter, the lone back, is just going to float out of the backfield to the right side of the screen and then fall down. But watch this effort. This is what your people love to see you do. Get up and give it that 2nd and 3rd effort. Fight forward. Man, this is nothing but effort. Hey, Brad Baxter, yeah, he loves this game.
Second leading rusher for the Jets on the season. Started 10 games last year and was the number 2 rusher for New York in his rookie year. Thomas gets to the outside. Knocked out of bounds at about the 6-yard line by Dwayne Bickett.
You know, Tom, the last 3 plays by Blair Thomas showed us why the Jets have this man. He broke a run, first of all, when there wasn't much daylight. This time, he shows his speed. He reverses field to follow Baxter and outruns the defense right here just to get to the corner to make this a positive play. He, of course, caught the pass on 3rd down and short, so the versatility of Thomas is showing.
First down from the 12-yard line for the Jets. Already in front 7-0 and threatening again. Baxter to the 8. Scott Radisek in the center of the Colt defense on the tackle.
Coach Venturi feels that his defense is doing a pretty solid job given the fact that they've had to spend so much time out on the field. Defensive coordinator, you know, he's now the head coach. It hasn't affected this team adversely at all. In fact, his personality has kind of taken over this Colt team, especially when he flexed his strength and suspended Eric Dickerson for walking off the practice field. The Colts like Rick Venturi.
Baxter again to the 5-yard line. Inside the final minute of the first quarter, give Donnell Thompson and Travis Davis credit for the stop.
Oh, that Donnell Thompson's having a good season, too, so far. But right now, it's this Jet offense that you're looking at, the offensive front that's playing well. This unit is playing well. There's Thompson in his 8th year, I believe. 11th year, excuse me, gang. And I asked him, I said, well, you know, that's pretty good for a defensive end, defensive lineman. He said, Joe, I work hard, I have perseverance, God's on my side. I just love playing football. He's one of the best defensive linemen in the league.
O'Brien on third down. Touchdown. No, incomplete. Dressel had it, couldn't hold it. Radisek and Taylor were defending, but Dressel had his big paws on it, couldn't maintain possession.
Well, O'Brien can't find anyone to his right, and there's Dressel at the bottom of the screen, and now he'll lose his footing trying to make this catch, you see, and he doesn't quite get his hands on it. Had Dressel not alertly got to the ball, Al Toon would have had an easy touchdown. You can tell that that's a broken pass pattern because you rarely have two receivers in one area.
Pat Leahy on for a 22-yard field goal attempt. If he makes it, he'll become the third leading scorer all time in the NFL, and he missed it. From 22 yards, Pat Leahy missed it. Bruce Coslett said yesterday, really, the 40-year-old Leahy had only had 2 bad kicks all season. Make it 3 now, as a little skirmish breaks out on the field. Well, the Colts drive down the field, but Leahy misses from 22 yards away, and it's still 7-0. In the first quarter, Pat Leahy just missing a 22-yard field goal attempt.
Well, Aguiar makes a nice catch and placement. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think Leahy just pulled the thing. He looked a little open whenever he got to the ball, and like a golfer, sometimes you're too much open and you pull that thing right across.
Did have the laces facing him. They like to face him away, but that shouldn't have made that much difference.
Not at all when it's that close.
Final play of the quarter, a handoff to Ken Clark, who gets nothing. Stopped at the 20-yard line by Scott Mercereau. And that play will bring an end to the first quarter from Giant Stadium with the Jets up 7-0. Books with the Jets leading the Colts 7-0. And the numbers after the first 15 minutes of play.
Yeah, you know, it's rather one-sided. Once again, the Jets have a tremendous time of possession up there. They should have 10 points, but the first quarter was clearly dominated by the Jets.
That's their game, ball control. They're one of the best in the NFL at possession. Jeff George, second down pass. Off target. Good coverage for the Jets as well. That one didn't have much of a chance. Bill Brooks, the intended receiver. And talk about the Jets and their time of possession. Second in the NFL and 4-1 when they have the edge.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I want to talk about that coverage that time by Brian Washington of the Jets. He was all over the receiver in excellent position that time. And George, I don't know what he saw, but man, Washington was in great shape.
Colts bring on their rocket formation. That's 4 wide receivers, Hester, Burdan, Brooks, and Martin. It's 3rd and 10. Double wides to either side. Shotgun. George wings it. Almost intercepted. Intended for Burdan down the left sideline, and Don Boyd Odegaard was there to break it up. Let's check our Cannon 10-minute ticker. Green Bay leading Buffalo. Washington has scored a touchdown to go in front. Dallas 10-0 blanking the Oilers. Boy, some surprises. San Francisco against New Orleans, and look at Cleveland turning it on against the Eagles, who looked like they'd revived themselves with that win against the Giants. Bucks and the Lions tied, and Cincinnati looking for 2 in a row. Ron Stark will punt, trailing 7-0, opening minute of the second quarter. Terrence Mathis calls for the fair catch, then lets it bounce. Goes out of bounds at the Jet 47-yard line. They asked Terrence Mathis when would he fair catch. He said, only if I can smell their breath will I call for the fair catch. Couldn't get it to catch at that time. His team on top. Looked like the weather has affected the appetite much. Quite a few empty seats at Giant Stadium, but braving the elements, some Jet fans to see their team lead. Here's Blair Thomas trying to get the corner, and not very successful at it. Maybe gained a yard as the Colts were able to string it out and get Thomas out of bounds.
Well, Dwayne White, the offensive guard of the Jets, pulls out nicely to lead, but I want you to watch number 51 come up on White and string this thing out. That's Chip Banks, who's going to come into play right there. An excellent position to string out the sideline, and Blair Thomas is not able to get anywhere. But I tell you, Dwayne White is probably the main reason in the offensive line, at least for the offensive line's improvement. He played the last 5 games last season, got him ready for this season, and he's doing well.
Coslin said he's really nimble on his feet for a big man.
Well, he has trouble with his diet. He keeps getting fined for being overweight.
O'Brien incomplete. Toon was closest to it, maybe Baxter, and O'Brien goes down in the face of the rush. There's Donnell Thompson, who was right in Ken O'Brien's face.
Oh, yeah. Big number 99. Right there in front of you in the middle of the screen, fights by Dwayne White, as a matter of fact, but O'Brien just didn't have anywhere to throw the ball.
Big Donnell Thompson, for one, was pretty outspoken about the Eric Dickerson suspension. He said he thought it was the right thing. It's time to get that situation straightened out, and time for the Ursays and Coach Venturi to regain control. He thought it was a positive move to suspend Dickerson.
Well, basic rule in football, folks, you don't walk off the practice field and leave your teammates behind.
Dickerson refusing to practice, and that led to the suspension as O'Brien's pass incomplete, intended for Chris Burkett.
Yeah, but it wasn't going anywhere. O'Brien put the ball right on target. Burkett didn't hold it, but buddy, he was going to get nailed right there. It still would have come up with a 4th down play.
And so Aguiar will be on to punt for the first time for the Jets today, averaging just over 40 yards a kick, as you see. Clarence Verdun deep for the Colts. Verdun, the all-time leading Colts punt returner and number 4 in NFL history, averaging over 12 yards a return for his career. Aguiar's punt goes straight up, but gets a good bounce. Verdun backs away from it, and it'll be down inside the 15-yard line. Well, sometimes better to be lucky than good. Aguiar gets a fortunate bounce, and the Colts are backed up, trailing 7-0. It's a special ceremony before the game today, as one of the great broadcasters of all time, Marty Glickman, was honored for broadcasting his 1,000th football game. There's Marty, the Jets radio play-by-play man, now 74 years old. And what a great guy Marty Glickman is. For many years, he was the announcer coach, I guess, at NBC. Very important in the development of Joe Namath and Tom Hammond. And this is a jersey they presented him with today, too. Glickman 1,000 in a Jets jersey. His 1,000th football game started way back in the 30s, Marty did, and still going strong at age 74. Colts with a first down play from their own 14. Clark nowhere to go. James Hasty on the corner, first to reach Ken Clark. Joe, going back to Marty Glickman just for a moment, he was instrumental in getting you into the broadcasting business, wasn't he?
Oh, he certainly was. We talked about it when I went with NBC and got with Marty, and he told me the ins and outs of the game. That's Dave Jennings sitting there with Marty with the binoculars, the former Jet Giant punter, and Marty's wife, Marjorie, who is, oh, she's beautiful. I had a chance to visit with them before the game. He's just a delightful guy. It's a delightful couple.
Jet George with a second down pass. Wide open, Hester to the 20-yard line. Hit hard by Kyle Clifton. Clifton, the leading tackler for the Jets, back in pass coverage.
You know, Clifton is in excellent position here. George sees Hester open. Hester goes into Clifton's area, and then Clifton just smothers Jesse Hester. There's Kyle Clifton. He calls the defenses out there. Jeff Lageman says Clifton is the main man on that defense. Without him, we'd be lost out in the field.
He led the NFL last year, did Clifton, with 199 tackles. 3rd and 3. And center Brian Baldinger is hit by the nose tackle Paul Fraze. And let's see if Fraze was drawn off. Tom Dooley will sort it out for us. That'll be the first penalty of the game. Remember, there was a flag on the opening kickoff, but it was waved off. So this is the first penalty of the game. Kyle Clifton returns to the Jet defense. Here's what Jeff Lageman said about Kyle. The Storm and Norman of the Jet defense, Cyclone Clifton. He's led the Jets in tackles 5 of his first 7 years in the NFL and on track to do it again this year. And there's Lageman, who's not having such a bad year himself. He's playing very well. Lageman was a terror against the Packers a week ago. Ken Clark on a first down carry, only to the 25-yard line, about half a yard before Joe Kelly makes the tackle. Penalty gave the Colts the first down. Second quarter scores now on our Cannon 10-minute ticker.
Gosh, Dallas 10 points out in front of Houston. That's a surprise, too.
Startling scores, 16-0 the Browns playing at home. Cincinnati finally got one win and now hungry for another against their old rival, the Steelers. Here it's 7-0 Jets. We're in the second quarter. Clark smashed at the 20-yard line. He draws a crowd of green led by Scott Mercereau. It'll be a loss on the play. Boy, that run defense for the Jets, second in the NFL, looks great today.
This is the best surge I've seen the Jets have in years, folks. I mean, that defense is back there. They attacked that line of scrimmage viciously, I might add. There's Hasty, who's playing nasty out there, and there's Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator of the Jets, who says that Mo Lewis is the key to his defensive packages.
Well, the Colts are last in the league in rushing offense. And the Jets, one of the best rushing defensive teams. So it figured to be a long afternoon for the Colts rushers without Eric Dickerson, especially. One-handed catch from the shotgun by George. Throws it into a crowd. He's lucky it wasn't picked off. Brooks was the intended receiver. Double covered, and Brian Washington, the man that deflected the pass.
I'll tell you, the happiest guy right now is probably not Brian Washington, but Paul Fraze, who jumped off sides on third down to give the Colts this opportunity. You'll see George throw the ball downfield, but once again, there are 2 defenders in the secondary in excellent position right there. First down wouldn't have made anyway. Wouldn't have been made.
Stark will punt. He's averaged 41 yards his first 2 kicks. Mathis from the 37. And Terrence Mathis back to the 45-yard line. New York Jets will have the ball again after another Stark punt. It's 7-0 Jets.
There's a big
Stadium at the New Jersey Meadowlands, where the Jet defense has controlled things so far. Total yards, the Colts only 17, 3 yards rushing thus far. Jets take over at their own 45-yard line. Blair Thomas to midfield. And with the Jets leading 7-0 and starting in good field position.
This is Bob Costas in New York. On the long list of reasons why the Bengals are 1-8, this is Ickey Wood's first touchdown run of the year, a 5-yarder, and they have the lead at home over the Steelers, who have lost 4 in a row, 10-3. Back to New Jersey.
All right, Bob, thanks for that update. Slipped one in on us there, 7-0. The Jets leading the Colts here, and the Jets with the ball just over the midfield stripe. Johnny Hector with his first carry of the day, close to the first down before he's thrown back for the Colt defense, led by Radisek and Bickett. Bruce Coslett calling the play from the sideline. and sends in Mark Boyer at a tight end spot. Boyer's been injured, but able to play today. Well, how's Bruce Coslett accepted? Here's a veteran Jet, Freeman McNeil, on his coach. Don't second guess him. They believe in him and trust him. And Coslett said this team has a short memory. They had agonizing losses to Buffalo and Chicago, but shook them off. Freeman McNeil not in uniform. Of course, he's injured, but the Jets have been a resilient team under Coslett. Johnny Hector with his second consecutive carry, tripped up by Keith Taylor, but still enough for a first down. Well, a reminder that at the conclusion of today's game, we'll be presenting the Avis We Try Harder Award, which will be given to the game's MVP. Chris Dressel has some equipment problems and is going to the sideline as Pat Kelly comes in at a second tight end. Kelly and Boyer both on the field for the Jets as Dressel gets his helmet looked at. First down pass from O'Brien. And complete. Chris Burkett makes the catch and rolls out of bounds inside the Colt 30. Chris Good defending on the play, but Burkett turned it up and was wide open.
On the right side of the screen, 87, Burkett's going to break to the sideline, and O'Brien, with excellent pass protection, once again finds his big receiver. Burkett, 6'4". 50-yard TD pass last week, you folks probably remember at the end of the first half, was in the right place at the right time. They practiced that so-called Hail Mary pass or whatever, and it paid off for the Jets big against Green Bay.
Roger Duffy is in at a tight end spot. The Jets have also got some playing time for Brett Miller in the offensive line, a normal thing. Hook pattern wide open to Toon. O'Brien hits Toon for another Jet first down to the 16-yard line, tackled by Eugene Daniel.
The deception in this Jet offense is nice to watch, I tell you. The running game's going pretty good. The last play, there's a running fake. They pull a guard over here, right there in the middle. Baldinger gets out there. Well, that's a... Oh, look, I mean, it's just excellent offense, designed beautifully, and right now the Jets are executing beautifully.
8 catches against the Packers a week ago, 109 yards for Toon, who has 1,800-yard receiving games. Baxter, hit in the backfield by Pickett, manages to fall forward back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, Pickett was on a winning team. He'd probably be talked about for the Pro Bowl once again. Here he fights off the block of Blair Thomas, who, for you youngsters at home, were watching that technique. Don't practice Blair Thomas's blocking technique on Dwayne Pickett. Pickett simply stepped over Thomas because Thomas had his head down and was so low, and I guess he's kind of laughing about trying to block him that way. I wish you'd try to block me that way every time.
The durable Pickett in his 7th year out of Southern Cal did make the Pro Bowl back in 1987. Baxter hit as he pounds the middle to the 15-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll bring up 3rd down for the Jets.
There's no quit in this Colt defense. They pride themselves as a defensive unit. They've been together longer than the offensive unit, and they take a tremendous amount of pride in stopping the opposition. This is the former defensive coordinator, Rick Venturi, who's now the head coach, and his enthusiasm has carried over to this defense, and they feel that they are going to lead this team back. The defense is solid.
Janelle Thompson said the defense plays with pride and consistency and continuity that the offense hasn't had.
You know, that consistency might mean also they're on the field all the time.
Yeah. O'Brien pumps and then scrambles and hits Burkett. Touchdown.
he happy or what? I'm sure that play didn't end up the way it was drawn up on the blackboard, but Ken O'Brien kept his cool behind fine protection. And what effort Chris Burkett made in getting into the end zone.
His third touchdown catch of the season. Leahy for the extra point. And it's good. Chris Burkett, off the O'Brien scramble, dives into the end zone, and he gives the Jets a 14-0 lead.
Now this play was caught over here. That's where the ball was caught. Watch this pass protection here. Here's the man that catches the ball, Chris Burkett. He's going to come all the way across the field. And it's the pass protection that affords this kind of time for Ken O'Brien. All the way across the field, he finds the open spot, and then Tomasi gives it that extra effort in the air and in the end zone.
And Aguiar with the kickoff. Taken at the goal line by Martin. Martin to the outside. Good return, Sammy Martin, to the 34-yard line. 33-yard return before he's tackled by Don Boyd Odegaard. Here's our Xerox Sports Fox question. What NFL punting record can never be broken? Was this your question, Joe Namath?
Well, I tell you what, I'll give you a hint, Tom. I was there. I saw it. The pass that Mo Lewis, the strong side linebacker, had lended a hand to.
And so the Jets threatening again, and Ken O'Brien off to a good start. He's hit 8 of his first 13 passes. Baxter plows his way to the 25-yard line before Dwayne Bickett finally makes the tackle. Well, our sports fact answer, what NFL punting record can never be broken?
Yes, sir, and I'll tell you why, folks. We were playing up at Denver on our own 1-yard line. Steve O'Neill had his feet on the end line. He hit that ball, and it took off like a rocket, carried over the safety's head, and rolled dead on their 1-yard line. Now, in the NFL, you only measure from 1-yard line to 1-yard line, so the 98-yard punt will stand as a record. With a penalty marker down is to the 20-yard line. It would be enough for a Jet first down, but flag on the play. And it will be a hold against New York.
Holding 67, offense, second down.
That's the road grader, Dwayne White, guilty of the hold.
There's the road grader, 67, Boyer, number 80, and Irv Eatman do a fine job of taking Donnell Thompson and Scott Radisek off the line of scrimmage. Just nice blocking, but the hold penalty negated the game.
So the ball set back to the 35-yard line of the Colts, where it's 2nd and 12. Another penalty marker down. Let's go to Bob Costas now. Well, first we'll check out the penalty before we check in for an update. And it will again be against New York, the second consecutive hold call.
Well, these two penalties on Bruce Costlett's team has really changed the momentum.
Holding 67, offense, second down.
Once again on Dwayne White, the road grader. Now, the Jets had the momentum going the way they wanted it, but 2 times in a row, Dwayne White has been called for holding to back his team up.
He's going to be the grade E if he doesn't put the holding. Larry Bechtel is going to roll him over. 2nd and 22 now. O'Brien, Hector, inside the 40 of the Colts before John Baylor makes the tackle. Let's see if Bob Costas is still there for that update. Bob?
Still waiting patiently and hanging on your every word, Tom. It's said you'd rather be lucky than good. This time, Buffalo was both off Thurman Thomas's hands into the arms of Andre Reed for the TD. 21st touchdown pass of the season for Jim Kelly. Nobody else in the league has as many as 15. It's tied at 7, but the Pack is on the march inside the Buffalo 10. Tom?
All right, Bob, and see, Joe, there was somebody listening to this game after all. Costas is glued to his set. at NFL Live. It's 3rd and 16 for the Jets, who lead the Colts 14-0. Just over 3 minutes left in the first half. O'Brien complete to Boyer, and the former Colts is stopped short of first down yardage by Herod and Bickett.
Yeah, but that was a big play. It gives the Jets an opportunity to try a field goal here for Pat Leahy and break that record. Boyer, who's been injured, came off the injury list this week, and he's a premier tight end, having played up in Indianapolis. I think his best years are now and ahead of him.
And so Leahy, who missed a 22-yard field goal earlier, will try to move up on that all-time scoring list. He needs only to hit this field goal to pass Jim Turner for number 3 all-time. And from 44 yards, Leahy again misses. He's 0 for 2 in his field goals today and still has not been able to claim that record. However, the Jets continue to lead. 40-year-old Pat Leahy missing his second field goal. That one, though, from 44 yards would have been his longest of the season. His previous long one this season, a 40-yard attempt. So Leahy still has not been able to pass Jim Turner on the all-time scoring list. I have a feeling he'll have more chances before the game's over, the way this is going. Ken Clark cuts it back. That's his best run of the day. Nets him 5 or 6 yards. Clifton and McMillan on the tackle for the Jets as we approach the 2-minute warning for the first half. And the clock will stop at the 2-minute mark. We'll have the 2-minute warning here at Giant Stadium. Coslitz Jets with the lead. The Shelter welcome at Giant Stadium today, where the Jets have a 14-0 lead in the final 2 minutes of the opening half. And at halftime, be with us now for the Domino Pizza NFL Live halftime report. The NFL Live gang standing by for that. Clark. Nice run by Ken Clark. First down for the Colts at their own 40-yard line. James Hasty made the tackle. This is doubleheader week at NBC, and a great game coming up. Important in the AFC West as the Raiders, 5-4, just like the New York Jets, battling the division-leading Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium. That's the second game here on NBC. Flags fly. It'll be illegal procedure against Indianapolis as the Colts, as per usual, can't stand prosperity.
False start, 73 offense before the play started. First down.
Zephros Moss, guilty of the infraction after the Colts had gotten a rare first down.
But Zephros Moss has been playing fairly well. He's improved. I talked with the defensive end of the Jets, Jeff Lageman, and he likes Moss's strength. You've got to be quick to beat Moss.
George scrambles and completes it to midfield. Nice catch made by Sammy Martin. And Pete Carroll, the Jets defensive coordinator, was saying yesterday they want to try to force George to scramble to his left because when he scrambles to his right, he's very good. You saw an example of that. This time he goes left and goes deep for Hester. He's got it. Touchdown. Break out the champagne.
And George to his left proved that he could throw that rock on to his left. What a beautiful pass by Jeff George to Jesse Hester.
First touchdown in 22 quarters for the Indianapolis Colts as Jesse Hester beat R.J. Coors, and George, scrambling to his left, put it right on target. 49 yards. That is a shocker.
Touched on this house, boy. I tell you, the Jet fans that are here on this tough day are just as quiet as could be. It shocked them.
Dean Biasucci to try, yes, an extra point.
Something the Colts haven't seen for a long, long time.
And it's good. The Indianapolis Colts in the end zone, and it's 14-7.
Jesse Hester, the inside slot receiver here for the Colts just simply goes down and outruns the Jets. Now, George is going to throw from his left, which is probably the toughest throw a right-handed quarterback can make because he's throwing back across his body. But on the left side of the screen, you see Jesse Hester outrun that Jet secondary and gather in. Oh, what a beautifully thrown pass by Jeff George. Take another look at it, and it's just the speed of Jesse Hester that turns this thing into a touchdown. Look, he stopped on the play, and now he's just turning full speed ahead. Outruns defensive back R.J. Coors.
Fourth touchdown pass of the season for Jeff George. It's been a long time. I don't know if he's going to shave over that, but he says now at least he can go out in public again in Indianapolis. He's not ashamed to be seen in public. Only hit 40% today, but a touchdown. Hester's second touchdown catch of the season. And Biasucci so happy that he kicks it out of bounds on the
We have a kickoff that's out of bounds. It'll be the receiving
Jesse
team's
Hester.
ball, 1st and 10 on the 35-yard line.
2 catches today, including that 49-yarder for a score. Well, the long drought is over. You know, George and some of the others talking to us yesterday, Joe, said just a little success, and this team maybe can start to generate some offense. They just needed some confidence and some success. In fact, Coach Rick Venturi said if they sustain the same kind of effort that they had against Miami a week ago, he thinks the Colts can come out of this slump and start to win a game or two.
Well, Coach Venturi has seen steady improvement. He believes his team's improving. Now, we'll see if that spark of the touchdown can ignite this Colts defense.
O'Brien, just over a minute left, throws it behind Altoon. Not a good pass by O'Brien. Here's another look at our 10-minute ticker. Houston has tied up Dallas in a hurry. Cleveland 23-14. Bernie Kosar has broken the record for most pass attempts without an interception. Tampa Bay and Cincinnati. And at halftime, all the scores and highlights. The Domino's Pizza halftime report from NFL Live. Irv Eatman backing out of his stance. Will be illegal procedure, 5 yards against the Jets, and things starting to unravel for New York after they appear to be well on their way to an easy win.
Before the ball was snapped, 2nd down.
Well, their concentration isn't good right now. Irv Eatman getting this penalty, of course, and earlier defensively Paul Fraze jumped off sides on the 2 consecutive holding penalties, so Bruce Coslet has got to start thinking here, what are we doing? We're hurting ourselves more than the Colt defense is hurting us.
The story of this series in recent years has been the Jets get a lead and then lose it. There's a completed pass for a short gain to Terrence Mathis, dragged down by John Baylor as the clock ticks inside a minute.
John Baylor with excellent coverage, not allowing Mathis to gain much yardage.
Third and long for O'Brien, who completes it short of the first down to Mathis. And it's 4th down. Timeout called by the Colts to stop the clock with 34 seconds left. That's something new for the Colts, too. Usually they're in a hurry to get into the locker room at halftime. They'll get the ball back, trailing 14-7. Bruce Coslet has the lead, 14-7, but a little angry, trying to rally his team. As you said, Joe, after building that 14-0 lead and dominating the game, they seem to have lost a bit of concentration. Aguiar to punt. And Verdun deep. Just 34 seconds left in the half. Sails a good kick for Dan from the 15. Clarence Verdun squeaking his way between defenders almost to the 30. There's a penalty marker down. John Galvin making the tackle for the Jets. A 43-yard kick and a 13-yard return by Verdun.
Well, I tell you, if this penalty is against the Colts, the face mask, what you don't want to do now for the Colts is to lose the momentum they just had. Go ahead and end this half right now. Kneel down. Do something just to keep the momentum you've had. With 22 seconds left, they're not going to be able to move the ball to 75 yards that's needed.
You know, they called face mask, and he pointed toward the Colts, but he meant the Jets, I think.
We have illegal use of the hands. Number 57 on the kicking team during the run, 5 yards.
Well, now, Tom,
First down.
it depends on the field position here on whether the Colts will want to take 1 or 2 shots at it.
Well, the Hail Mary worked just before the half for the Jets last week against Green Bay. Maybe the Colts will try one. By the way, Joe, up in Cleveland, Bernie Kosar was intercepted in that game. And the record for Bernie Kosar stops at 308 attempts, but he did set the record. There's your situation. Ball at the 33 of Indianapolis. Across the 40, almost a 10-yard gain, dragged down by James Hasty. And the Colts call a timeout to stop it with 12 seconds left, and Jeff George appears to be injured.
But Dennis Byrd, the defensive tackle for the Jets, got back there and hit Jeff George just as he released the ball. You'll see number 90 unload on Jeff George. Well, there he comes from the backside, and George actually gets sandwiched in there by Darrell Davis and Byrd. Oh, and he looks like he's in some kind of pain.
Well, Jeff George is a tough guy. He's taken a pounding, sacked 28 times coming into this game, and it takes a pretty good blow to knock him out of the game. There's the backup, Mark Herman, in his 10th year out of Purdue, the journeyman who has been with Denver, 2 stints with the Colts, with San Diego, and with the Rams.
You know, Tom, getting a shot from one side, hitting you in the chest is one thing. It's sudden, it's painful, you go back and hit the ground. Getting that shot from the front and then the back or vice versa is kind of a whiplash effect. First, you're going to see Davis just nail him right here from the front and from the back. Byrd may have arrived first, but it hit him right in the sternum. I don't know, it's in the chest area. It looks to be awful painful right now.
Mark Herman has taken only 1 snap all season. That was against the Jets back on the 20th of October. It's the only action he's seen this year. He's in his 2nd stint with the Colts. He came back to them last season.
But I tell you, right now, looking at Jeff George, things look good because he's sitting up there kind of settling himself down. I think he's going to be all right, folks, and that's a sigh. I mean, that's got to be a big relief for all the Colt fans.
He is wearing rib pads, which may have helped protect him a little bit.
Yes, sir. And that chest area, too, where he took that shot. Is he tough, huh? He's staying in there. All right, Jeff.
Well, the youngster set an example for his teammates by taking that hit and staying on the field.
That's what they need. I like that. That's good attitude. It does carry over to the teammates.
Quite a contrast to the superstar Eric Dickerson.
You had to slip that in, huh, buddy?
Complete into Jet territory to Bill Brooks. And with 6 seconds left, the Colts call their final timeout. And once again, George took a beating, but made the completion.
And they've given themselves a chance for the long play. One more play with 6 seconds left. Anything can happen on that long desperation pass. A tipped ball, a touchdown, a pass interference penalty, all kinds of goodies.
And believe me, George can heave it that far. He's got a very strong arm. Well, coming up next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time, the Ping Kapalua International Golf Tournament at Kapalua. Next Saturday. 14-7 Jets with 6 ticks left as the Colts will try the Hail Mary play here from Jeff George. He's got 3 wides to the right and 1 Verdun to the left. Step up. Oh, he threw it short. Bobbling catch finally made by Ken Clark, and time will run out as Clark is down at the 25-yard line by Don Odegaard. So a little bit of surprise. They didn't go deep, went for the short completion. It netted 23 yards, but not nearly enough but the Colts got a little bit of a break. They're on the scoreboard for a change. It's 14-7 Jets. Let's go to Bob Costas now with a Domino Pizza NFL halftime